I'm Krisanachkate. Welcome to APTN National News Daytime. A total of 7 Treaty 6 leaders will travel to London for a private meeting in Buckingham Palace with King Charles on March 11th. The special meeting comes as First Nation leaders prepare for the 150th commemoration and celebration of Treaty 6 in Saskatchewan on August 20th. The Atakakoop Cree Nation sent the initial invitation to take part in the 150th commemoration of Treaty 6 in Fort Carlton, Saskatchewan earlier this year. It's to reaffirm the continued relationship between Treaty 6 First Nations and the Crown. During that special meeting, the 7 leaders say they will invite King Charles to attend the sesquicentennial signing of Treaty 6 in Fort Carlton from August 20th to the 23rd. The original Treaty 6 parchment will also return home for the first time in 150 years, and chiefs will visit other signing sites that include Beardy's Camp, Fort Pitt, and Enoch Cree Nation in Alberta. Beardy's and Okamesis Cree Nation Chief Edwin Ananis is one of the 7 delegates. He's also the lead in having the Treaty 6 parchment come back to Treaty 6 territory. In a statement, Chief Ananis added, "While the treaty texts do not tell the complete story of what was agreed to under Treaty 6, they are a key part of our history. My hope is that the visiting Treaty 6 exhibits will provide much-needed treaty education and awareness that will provide a strong foundation for realizing treaty over the next 150 years. Gifts will also be given to King Charles in Buckingham Palace, including baby mucklucks to represent the care needed for First Nations children." The land base of the Member 2 First Nation in Nova Scotia will double in size after a federal announcement on Wednesday in the First Nations community, which has already grown quite a bit over the years. Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations Rebecca Alty announced 4 additions to the reserve, totaling more than 400 acres. Some of the extra land is reserved to increase commercial and economic opportunities, but Chief Terry Paul says a lot of it will be used for modern housing.
Well, on the other side of the highway is the largest one, and that's enough room to put, say, like 1,400 houses there. So it's would be a major addition to our, and much needed addition to our reserves, because we're out of land now.
According to a government news release, just over 90% of the new land, 368 plus acres, will be used for residential purposes. Another 20 acres is earmarked for commercial development, nearly 13 acres for improved access to the community, and the remainder, just over 7 acres, for more space for the Member 2 Heritage Park for cultural and ceremonial purposes. The province of Ontario has announced accelerated construction timelines for roads in northern Ontario that will lead to the mineral-rich Ring of Fire. On Tuesday, the Ford government said the completion of the all-season roads to the Ring of Fire will now happen 5 years ahead of schedule, with construction planned to start in June of 2026 and roads beginning to open in November of 2030. Ontario says development of the Ring of Fire, roughly 500 kilometers northeast of Thunder Bay, will create 70,000 jobs and add $22 billion to the economy over the next 30 years. The Ford government has also signed new economic partnerships with Martin Falls First Nation and Webequie First Nation, who led environmental assessments for 2 of the roads. Under the new plan, construction on the Webequie Supply Road is scheduled to start this June. Construction on the Martin Falls Community Access Road is also set to start this August. In total, 4 road projects will see First Nations connected to the provincial highway network and provide access to the area that is critical to the development of the Ring of Fire.
Responsible development means balancing economic opportunity for environmental stewardship and respect for Indigenous rights. Our communities have stewarded these lands for thousands of years, and our knowledge and perspectives must continue to guide how development takes place. When done right, critical mineral development can support both economic prosperity and the transition to cleaner technologies. while ensuring the protection of lands and waters that sustain us.
Meanwhile, mining projects in Manitoba are getting a $3.4 million boost thanks to the provincial government. A large portion of the funding is slated for a mine 100% owned by Norway House Cree Nation. Mining and Trade Minister Jamie Moses made the announcement at the 2026 Prospectors and Developers Association of Canada conference in Toronto. Moses says $2 million will go to the Minago Critical Minerals Project, located 5.5 hours north of Winnipeg. It became the first critical minerals project to be fully owned by a First Nation in Canada when Norway House Cree Nation purchased it in 2024. The money will support developing the first phase of a processing facility for magnesium extracted from quarried dolomite limestone. Minago says Canada uses 25,000 tons of the metal each year, entirely imported from other countries. This phase is expected to create 20 permanent jobs and provide training for more than 50 First Nation workers. The limestone quarry extraction already trained 15 Norway House Cree Nation members this winter. The Port of Churchill has signed a major agreement with one of the biggest cargo shipping facilities in the world to collaborate on the port's design. The Canadian port will join forces with the Belgian Port of Antwerp-Bruges on business development as well as future trade plans. While not yet a sure thing, the site in northern Manitoba is planning a multi-billion-dollar expansion as one of the projects the Liberal government has declared to be in the national interest. The Northwest Territories' housing system is aging, underbuilt, climate vulnerable, and dependent on multi-government funding. That's according to a new housing needs assessment. The 176-page report uses data collected from community engagement sessions. It projects more than 2,000 new housing units are needed over the next decade. Half of those being affordable units, 600 for public housing, and 330 for market rental units. It also says 1/3 of homes across the territory need major repairs. And in small communities, 51% need significant work. The findings also show Indigenous and small communities have more mold and more overcrowding issues. Meanwhile, in Yellowknife, hundreds of families are on long wait lists for public housing. Lucy Kaptana is the territory's housing minister.
Having this evidence-based approach provides them that information so they go to the table with their federal partners and say, okay, Housing and WT has done this work and the government of Northwest Territories is providing this submission to Build Canada Homes, and this is the work they've done. They've gone to 20 communities, they've had over 450 people or households be part of the survey. They work with the University of British Columbia with their housing assessment resource tool.
Saskatchewan RCMP is asking for the public's help in identifying 2 suspects who allegedly shot a man in a First Nation last Tuesday afternoon. According to the Carrot River RCMP, Mounties were called to the Red Earth Cree Nation at around 2:20 p.m. on Tuesday afternoon for a report of a shooting. When RCMP arrived, they located an adult male with a gunshot wound. He was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. RCMP say they are now looking for a gray Chevrolet Impala that approached the victim before a firearm was discharged at the man. Police say 2 people were inside the vehicle and they fled the scene after the shooting. If anyone has information on the vehicle or 2 suspects, you are asked to call RCMP or Crime Stoppers. Red Earth Cree Nation is located about 250 kilometers northeast of Prince Albert. Alberta RCMP are turning to the public to help identify a man they say was discreetly taking photos of people in store change rooms without their consent. They say they need the public's assistance after following many investigational leads, including working with the Canadian Border Service Agency. Alberta RCMP says the man pictured here is a suspect in the Voyerism investigation, which began in June of 2024. They say it was at that time that a woman trying on clothes at a store saw a cell phone slide under her change room door. She quickly grabbed the device and alerted staff, but the suspect fled before police arrived. RCMP say a lengthy investigation has revealed several other videos of victims changing or using the bathroom. Anyone with information on his identity is asked to contact the Alberta RCMP, or if you wish to remain anonymous, contact Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. Chisasibi in northern Quebec has a reason to celebrate as they recently opened a new mobile health project. That story after the break. Don't go away. Welcome back. After almost a decade of development, the Cree Board of Health and Social Services of James Bay and the Canadian Red Cross recently gathered in Chisasibi in northern Quebec. It was to celebrate the completion of a mobile health project. APTN's Kim Sullivan has that story.
And then also, can we get on the phone for medevac? I'm going to need more staff to come in because this is potential intubation.
The Narima Chiogunk project is more than a bunch of tents. It's a mobile health unit that aims to strengthen the preparedness and response capacity of northern and isolated communities while integrating local knowledge and priorities.
Airway stuff set up.
A historic joint training session took place in Chisasibi, where the initiative began, between the Cree Board of Health and Social Services of James Bay and the Canadian Red Cross to test new winterized equipment and strengthen the skills of the mobile unit staff.
Today we were working with our PSO team, that's public safety officers, first responders, our ambulance technicians, and also Canadian Rangers. They had a scenario where they brought in somebody with hypothermia, and the ambulances, they brought somebody that had smoke inhalation. So then after that, the medical staff did their stuff in front of everyone, how they do it in a hospital setting.
The CBH-SSJB manages and organizes health and social services in the 9 communities of the James Bay Cree territories.
Blood pressure is 104 on 90.
This mobile health unit is designed to provide essential health services to isolated communities in EUISTSI in the event of an emergency, including those occurring in extreme weather conditions.
Well, the mobile health unit is a unit that we deploy during forest fires, pandemic. It could take care of infectious disease. It could take care of a disease that comes and you don't want it to go into the hospital. We can stop it before, test people before they go in.
The mobile healthcare unit is the first of its kind in northern Canada and supports resilient service delivery during urgent situations.
Sometimes you don't have to evacuate south. You can evacuate towards a sister community, next community, and they could be the hosts. And instead of disturbing host clinic or hospital, we would deploy this so that the community that's evacuated could use the services for their clinic of their community.
Jason Kanushish adds that in addition to all this, the project demonstrates innovation and cultural integration.
So when we deploy these mobile health units, we also deploy a teepee. Come, I'll show you the teepee.
And healthcare that is guided by the Cree.
So when there's an event happening, we always set up the teepee, and we have our psychosocial team that take care of the mental health side of the event.
It's healthcare adapted to the pace of the North. Kim Sullivan, APTN National News, Montreal.
Now to tell you about an interesting story in Australia. A living project that explores the power of language between First Nations and multilingual communities has been unveiled by the University of Technology in Sydney, Australia. Compiled over 2 years, the library features acknowledgements of the country in 40 different languages. NITV's Phoebe McKeel-Wraith reports.
Immersed in community voices. This big screen experience, part of the Acknowledging Country in Our Mother Languages project.
So just saying it out, it just made it feel like it was a very important occasion.
Led by Filipino-Australian Dr. Elaine Lafuteza, it was inspired by conversations in the lead up to the Voice to Parliament referendum.
Because at the heart of it, it is recognising and acknowledging that we are on First Nations lands, and we also have this multilingual existence that exists and that we should be proud of and that we should learn how to champion.
Driven by the UTS Multicultural Women's Network, the initiative has now built a library of acknowledgements in 40 different languages. Bringing together culturally and linguistically diverse communities in solidarity with First Nations Australians.
There's a lot of talk about better connecting individuals with our peoples, with First Nations, people's culture and our histories. I actually see there's an additional significant element of better understanding contemporary Australian identity. You know, all these, we're a melting pot of cultures, and that's a beautiful thing.
The project aims to amplify multilingual and First Nations voices, support reconciliation initiatives in multilingual communities, and build long-lasting resources that support cross-cultural dialogue.
It's a small thing, but it's not an insignificant thing that they found a connection to this country, to First Nations people.
Different languages sharing a common message, honouring the land we are on. Phoebe McGilwraith, NITV News.
It's Thursday, and that means Fraser Needham joins us now from Ottawa to tell us what's ahead on this week's Nation to Nation. Fraser?
Coming up after the evening news, pro-separation advocates in Alberta continue to push forward with plans to hold a proposed referendum. But many First Nations are not on board, and APTN reporter Leanne Sanders is here to talk about the latest. Last week, the federal government announced new funding for Jordan's Principle, but some critics, including the Caring Society's Cindy Blackstock, say it doesn't go far enough. And friendship centres continue to struggle due to federal budget cuts last year. Sean Longboat of the Ontario Indigenous Association of Friendship Centres is here to talk about the impacts. All this and more on tonight's episode of Nation to Nation.
Thanks, Fraser. We now want to tell you about this week's new web poll question. Should the federal government expedite changes to Bill S2 to address second-generation cutoff? You can answer yes or no. Go to our website at aptnnews.ca to have your say. When we come back, we'll tell you about a new book that explores the history of 2 residential schools in Canada. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. St. John's sunny and -11, Halifax partly cloudy, -5. Nain -23, Cartwright -20. Quebec City -11, Montreal -7. Toronto 5, London showers and 4. Wawa -10, Thunder Bay clear skies -11. Sun's out in Thompson at -18, God's Lake -20. Gimli -13, Barons River -15. -12 in Regina, Saskatoon -11. Uranium City -21, Meadow Lake -14. +1 in Grand Prairie, Fort McMurray -10. -3 in Calgary, Lethbridge cloudy and -5. Clear skies in Vancouver at 8, Kamloops partly cloudy and 5. -10 in Dease Lake, Fort Nelson -9. -24 in Watson Lake, Dawson -28. Fort Simpson -25, Watii -27. Tuktoyaktuk -22, Paulatuk -19. -31 in Whale Cove, Baker Lake -36. And Iqaluit -23, Aguluk -37. A Northern Ontario residential school survivor and advocate is the subject of a new children's book. It's called Shirley, an Indian residential school story. The book recounts the memories of Shirley Horn, who was forced to attend St. John's and the Shingwak Indian Residential School. The book is a collaboration between Shirley Horn and author and illustrator Joanne Robertson, both of whom live in the Sault Ste. Marie area in southern Ontario. A book launch was held at Algoma University, where Horn served as the first chancellor. It is also the former site of the Shingwak Residential School. The book describes Horn's experience of being separated from her family and culture as a young child. Her story also highlights the ways she and other children rebelled and fought to keep their spirits high. Horn is also a founding member of the Children of Shingwak Alumni Association. She was recently appointed to the Order of Ontario in February. Demolition of the Portage Place Mall in downtown Winnipeg, the Pete skate park has been forced to move to another location. The skate park hoped to open for the winter but has been experiencing some delays since moving. APTN's Julia Ross reports.
With True North and Southern Chiefs organization's development of the Portage Place Mall in downtown Winnipeg becoming a not-for-profit residential complex, the Pete skate park must move. This move will be the Pete skate park's third location and second temporary location so far.
When Pete lost its space at Higgins in Maine, they were searching, and we were in the midst of close to purchasing the property, and so joining together with the previous owners, we helped them get into the Portage Place space with the understanding that we had development plans coming.
After being told they would need to shut down, the True North company has provided the Pete skate park with a new space, the old Snap Fitness building on Portage Avenue. Executive Director of Pete, Dan McRory, says he's grateful to have had support acquiring the new space.
It's been a lot of work, so we're kind of juggling a few different things where, True North did jump in and help provide us with this space. And then in the meantime, we're also continuing to pursue long-term spaces. Because in the end, we just don't want to be jumping around from space to space. We want to find a place, not just for us to not have to move more than once, but for the community to know where we are and be, sure that we'll be there.
McRory says that the skate park would have opened its new location, but there have been multiple delays.
We've got some remediation going on here because we did have a flood in the space. And so the building owners took care of that quickly, but there's a lot of water damage that needs to be repaired. So we're about to launch a fundraiser. We lost a little bit of time, so there's been some downtime here. So that we've been using resources to build and move and all that stuff. So we're launching a fundraiser to help us open back up. There's going to be opportunities to sort of sponsor a ramp and all kinds of different things.
Staff member Isaiah Parisian says it's been unfortunate that there hasn't been a place to skate for this year's winter.
My hopes would be to just have the doors open for everybody, to give everybody a space to come in and skate or whatnot, and just to stay warm and to stay active during the winter. And it's also a great outlet for a lot of families to bring their kids, and it's good for programming, it's good for the youth.
True North says that they will continue to support and help the skaters find a true permanent location in the future.
One of the things that we deeply understand is that we have a community in our downtown that is underserviced for recreational opportunities for youth. We need it. The community needs it. The neighborhood needs it.
Pete hopes to find its permanent home within the next 3 to 5 years, and its goal is to find a space that provides a great service to the community. Julia Ross, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
And that's all the time we have for APTN National News Daytime. Dennis Ward is back for your evening news in a few hours. Please join us then. From all of us at APTN National News, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next day.